allegiance, and the flag is in the back of the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
The next item is approval of the August 6, 2014 minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Brian. Motion made by Kathy. Any changes, errors, or omissions? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I was absent from the meeting, I abstained.
Okay, so we have 2 abstentions, Sharon, Ryan, and Mark. I have no suggested changes.
Move adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Second by Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next is communications and correspondence, and I do have 3 items for the Selectmen. The first one, I think, is a pink sheet under your agenda, and the chairman of our Water and Sewer Commission is here tonight, Dick Cody, in case you had any questions. But I'm gonna read the letter. Dear Susan, at their August 4, 2014 meeting, the Water and Sewer Commission members discussed the serious financial condition of water and sewer budgets. The present sewer and water rates are inadequate and should be addressed immediately to be in compliance with the town charter. Therefore, the Water and Sewer Commission is requesting a special meeting with the Board of Selectmen, Water and Sewer Subcommittee, and Finance Director. It's anticipated that both budgets will have significant shortfalls again this year, and therefore it's vital that we meet as soon as possible. So if you'd like to establish a date, I will put that on a meeting.
You could just add that to our agenda for a future meeting, Kelly.
Yep.
We don't need a special meeting for that, do we?
Yes, Dick?
I agree with Mark, we don't necessarily need a special meeting, but what we do need is a financial accounting to bring the rates online, expenses. Because down the line, if somebody buys a house, it's an assessment for sewer and water bill that is underfunded, knowing it's not that I'm serious about it.
I would suggest, so that we can be well prepared, October 1, which is the first meeting in October. It's a Wednesday, and it would be a regularly scheduled date for the Board of Selectmen.
Do we need that much time?
I think if you want a good report, I can't get one ready for
Okay.
I think it's the 3rd of September. I think this would give us enough time, and we like to have the first meeting of the month financial. And
Okay.
also, as you have questions, you could get them to me, and then we'll try to get them
Well,
addressed.
I only have 2 questions.
Sure.
And that is, we need an update to see where we are financially, and what it would take to rectify the situation.
We are a commission, not an authority, so
Right.
therefore we can only recommend, and we have recommended.
You have a recommendation for us, too?
We have recommended that you address it,
Yeah.
that's what I'm referring to. Because beyond that, our knowledge and stuff is rather limited. But we do have the ability to recognize problems. We have recognized it. And our concerns about addressing it with the Board of Selectmen, and basically the Board of Finance, or the Finance Director. Because you two are the ones that can solve it, we can't.
And I know he's well aware of the problem, and we've discussed it before, we've taken action, but then subsequent events have shown that the action we took wasn't enough. So, is it possible that we could have recommendations of different ways to
Sure.
approach this for
Yep,
that
I know,
meeting?
we've started working on that, Mark, and we will be prepared to bring them to a little bit better condition, bringing them to
Great.
you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
That, for clarification, that would be a couple of different proposals in terms of phase-in proposal, maybe,
Or different ways of addressing the
Mitigating your shortfall.
rates and so forth.
Yeah.
Yes.
so more than one, you're saying.
I'm sorry?
There will be more than one.
More than one option.
He wants some
Yes.
options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I think you need a short-term solution and a long-term solution, so,
yeah.
I assume we're addressing the short-term solution at this first meeting.
We should look at
I've always
both.
said that we need to, investigate this issue in greater detail rather than just,
Yes.
talking about it and looking at it. I think you really have to, hire an outside consultant to really, resolve the issue and see what options are available.
We will also have some information on that.
I make one more comment, that, our situation is really not the fault of any one department. Once again, from the state and federal regulations of the costs. For years, we had very reasonable rates, low rates, but we didn't have water connected to new quality. And the new quality's not been put into effect. We might not be here having this discussion, but the state and federal regulations superseded our ability to keep the water costs low. And now we're forced with expensive public storage charges.
Plus, you've lost a couple big customers.
Whatever.
It's a combination.
Yeah.
The second item I have for you is a letter that came to me from a member of the Facilities Study Group in East Hampton. And this letter is, I would call it exploratory. It's an opportunity. The author is Jim Morris, who is a Facilities Committee member in East Hampton. And his gist of his letter is to get us thinking about ways that perhaps the two towns can cooperate in terms of, in particular, their education needs in both towns. So I'd encourage you to read this, and we can certainly talk about this. I know that Mr. Morris is going to talk about this at his meeting tomorrow night, on Thursday. So I told him I would simply present it to you. We won't go into any detail tonight because his committee hasn't even seen this yet. But I wanted to bring that to your attention, and it's in your packets. The next item. I wanted to bring to your attention also some information about some changes in the Board of Education. Within the Board of Education, last year, they decided to hire a business manager. And previous to that, there was a business assistant. And the position was approved by the Board of Education, and the person that was the business assistant was appointed to the business official position. And there was a commensurate increase in salary of $20,000. It came to my attention, and I've spoken to the chairman of the Board of Education, that in August 5th meeting that the Board of Education had this year, just a couple weeks ago, another $20,000 raise was given to this position, which this position now is $100,000 a year as a business manager. And when I asked the chairman about that, he said that that was the original intent, and that was that the position would get about a $40,000 increase from where it had been as a business assistant. And they couldn't do it all in 1 year, so they split it into 2 years. And that was something that, frankly, I was not aware of until I was presented with this letter later in the week. So it got me thinking, certainly, about the rest of our management of finances within the town. And in our charter, and I gave you a copy of our charter, it's clearly stated that the director of finance for the town is the town treasurer, the agent of the town deposit funds, is responsible for keeping and maintaining all accounts showing financial transactions for all departments and boards of the town, including the Board of Education and the sewer and water enterprises. The finance director prepares financial reports and submits the same to the first selectman on a monthly monthly basis, prepares cash flow analyses for the investment of all funds, assists in the preparation of budgets and the presentation of the annual budget to the selectmen, hearings, and town meetings, is responsible for monthly reconciliation of all bank accounts, and maintains records of all fixed assets, administers the town pension fund, periodically reviews all insurance coverage by the town, including the coverage of the Board of Education, is familiar with all grants and state federal programs, cause to be purchased subject to rules and regulations as approved by this board, all supplies, materials, equipment, and other other commodities required by any department, board of the town, including the Board of Education. So, I bring this to your attention because my concern is, as we proceed, the current position of finance director, which oversees all finances of the town, is paid similar to the business service manager in the schools. Previously, that position was a higher level compensated position, which was how we established the budget over the many years. So I have some concerns about this, and I certainly don't have any answers, but I just wanted to bring to your attention the importance of the integrity of not just how we're managing finances, because the control structures are in place regardless. The director of finance assures me that it's regardless of compensation, that all of the control structures are in place, will continue to be in place, and all of the requirements as established by the charter as well as state statute are followed by us. But frankly, as your chief administrator, an overseer of the town departments, I have some concerns. And I just wanted to bring them to your attention. And as I said, I don't have any answers. I don't expect you to have answers. But as we proceed, I think we need to keep this in mind.
Why the change? It's not like our school system's gotten any bigger, right? Do we have more kids now than
I think some of those questions are probably better addressed and answered
by the Board
by
of
the
Ed?
board, yeah.
Can we invite them?
Sure, we
to-
could do that.
This might be a similar question, but has the scope of the work of the former same person, business assistant, changed now that their title, or is it simply a change in title?
I have not seen the job description, so there may be additions that have been given to that position.
Well, some of that work used to be done by the finance director.
Well, I
And
believe
they-
the finance director's still doing the work. No, as I read, finance director's still doing all of these jobs.
Okay, but.
Maybe more the superintendent.
Specifically, some of the accounting functions in the Board of Education budget were handled previously by the finance director, were they not? Wasn't this a part-time job and they made
No,
it full-time?
No, this was always a full-time job.
It was always
Oh,
full-time?
yes, yes, yes. But I don't want to get into an area where I'm not conversant. I really don't have all of the job duties associated with the two positions. My purpose is to state that we have to maintain the way we're financing. Many towns have what we have, and that is a combined financial approach to general government and the Board of Education. And I'm seeing that this may be changing, and I think, as Ryan said, we need to talk directly with the Board of Education to determine if I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
So was
But I
it-
certainly want
and
to address it.
Maybe you don't know this, this new position, is it a new position that
Yes.
was just created?
It wasn't created this year, Kathy, it was created last year.
Wouldn't you think
Okay,
it would be
that's
like
what
a
I was talking-
highlighted item when we talked about, the yearly budget? Wouldn't that be like something that they should have gone out of the way to let us know about?
They did,
He told us.
they
They did?
did. Not this
With-
budget season, the season previous.
With the increase in
They did.
pay?
That's what I was
With the
talking about,
increase?
though.
With the 40,000?
Not 40,000, did they?
No.
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 I was gonna,
No,
because that
we
would have
would
No.
jumped
remember that.
right out at
No.
us. That's a,
But we have nothing to say about that.
I know we have nothing to say, but, we really tried to nickel and dime this past budget season, every raise, and then to have, something that we can't control go up 40 grand,
Frustrating.
it's very frustrating.
And also, I'll tell you, and I think you all have responsible jobs, when this occurs, there's somewhat of a ripple effect among the other members of the team. And it's not something that I knew was happening. It's more this latest raise that has really said to me, I need to bring it to your attention, and we need to be very aware and see how we proceed appropriately. And I think I can certainly, I'll get back to the chairman and ask if we can have a meeting to talk about how this management is occurring, and have perhaps the new superintendent come and talk about that as well.
I'd like to know the need, I guess, really.
Sure, it's a good question. All right. Public comment. No public comment tonight, thank you. Any old business appointments to boards and commissions? I have none.
No.
Okay. Carl, all set? New business, I believe it's every 5 years, we have to ask that we be considered a STEEP eligible town. You may not remember this, but we are, given demographics and so forth, considered eligible for what's called Urban Act money. And Urban Act money is also available to other cities in the state. So that money usually goes to the bigger towns and cities. The years that I've been for selectmen, and even previous to me, we received, I think, $100,000 total for a sidewalk repair project. So that's why we opt into STEEP, because we have opportunity to get up to $500,000 a year, every year. That's what this resolution is allowing, that the Board of Selectmen, pursuant to Public Act 05194, the town forego eligibility to seek funds under Urban Act, and in lieu of thereof, seek funds made available through the Small Town Economic Assistance Program. So we have to pass this every, I believe it's every 5 years, and we're a little ahead, because I didn't want to let our eligibility lapse. I'll also let you know that the 2015 announcement has come out for STEEP, and I know that we've been talking quite a bit about the Route 17 project as something that we might consider for a STEEP grant. We had the airline trail come and ask that they be on the list for priority. You have many other needs within the town infrastructure-wise as well. First, let's deal with this particular resolution.
Adoption of the resolution, waive reading.
Is there a second? Second by Carl?
Second. Just a-
Carl, motion made by Brian, seconded by Carl.
comment.
Fred?
Yeah, just to speak, not on the resolution, which is necessary, good idea. But as you were talking about the list, at some point, can we take a look at the list of potential future STEEP grant applications, or, I know the departments have interest, and certainly you're in contact with various entities that have interest, but
Sure.
it might be helpful just to take a look at our list, at the
Sure.
total list.
Do
We
we
don't
have a
have a
list?
list.
I was gonna
No,
say.
we don't have a list. No.
No, I've never seen it.
There is no list.
Well, but there is a list. There's no there's a list if you have a group, and Susan just mentioned 2 or 3, so there's a list, but it's not a list.
It's not written.
It's not written.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's make a
written
list.
We can make a list.
Check it twice.
I mean, you could make your own list, I think. In terms of every meeting you come here, I think you recognize the need for special grants. But I will speak with some of the department heads as well as myself and you, and come up with a list. It's just that more recently, we have spoken on the Route 17 project and the need for perhaps piecemealing that. STEEP, in my estimation, is a program that allows towns to do projects that they probably ordinarily would find very difficult to fund. For example, we've used STEEP to improve Brownstone Avenue and the Riverfront Park. We used STEEP to write a planning and and all of the contract documents for the Route 17 project. And we also have a steep grant to build a new sand salt storage shed. What I like to do, and it's certainly with your agreement or other ideas, but once you start a project with steep, I like to see it go through. So we've had 4 applications to complete Brownstone Avenue, the sidewalks on Middlesex Avenue, the parking lot at the end of Middlesex Avenue, as well as the stage in the Riverfront Park and the pavilion at the Riverfront Park. And I will add to that, once we get the 2014 dollars, we are adding water and sewer lines and bathrooms and other accommodations to make the park more usable. So with that 4th, and I'm saying last grant, we've completed the steep project of the Riverfront Park. Now, the Route 17 project, as you know, we have to determine how you want those contract documents to be established. And the first thing you have to do is grade that land. And you may not be able to grade the whole thing, may need to look at some other piecemeal that would be less than $500,000. Because steep is money that you do not get from local dollars, that's your state dollars being returned. Now, there's, as Fred very well stated, there's a long list of projects that you can do. The airline trail project, for example, that's not quite ready yet. They haven't hired their consultant yet, they're in the process of that. They also can access some of the trails dollars that the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has. And there are some, perhaps some other grants that we still need to tap into. So, there's a motion on the table in regard to opting into steep, so first we should perhaps vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. And we can continue that discussion, and I'll come up with a list at a subsequent meeting. The cell tower and at the area of 1 Rose Hill, they did do a, Sharon, do you know what they call that?
It was visibility, wasn't
Thank you, a visibility study. And I have a copy of the study in my office. I can make it available to anyone who would like it. I've sent it out to some of the neighbors. They will present their information, an overview of technical information using a PowerPoint presentation at 7 o'clock on September 17th here in this room of the Portland Public Library. And it will be an opportunity for anyone to ask questions. And I've also invited Public Works Director and our town engineer to discuss any impacts the site would have on drainage and other matters. So that's more informational for you. It's technically not a public hearing, but it's information that's being held. And I believe they are going to be noticing this. Would you like to make it as a public hearing?
Would you like to make it a public hearing, did
Yeah.
you say? Probably, right?
Yeah, I think we could.
People can-
Want to make that motion, Kathy?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that sorry, September 17th, at 7 o'clock in the Mary Flood Room, we have a public hearing regarding the proposed wireless telecommunications tower facility at 9 Rose Hill Road, Portland.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is that Ryan? All in favor?
Well, is there discussion?
Of course, discussion.
Do you expect a lot of people at this? I mean, I know that there's a group of people who are opposed to it.
There'll be about
Is it-
40 houses invited, I know that, as
Okay.
well as public information.
Then you do need a hearing. I thought maybe we could do it at a meeting,
Oh,
but
I
I
think
think
there's
with
a lot
that
of
many,
interest.
you do need it.
I agree, Mark. And the public hearing means we notice it as well, so.
Is a half hour enough time?
May not be, but,
Wait, This is other
it
town
can
meeting.
spill over into our regularly scheduled meeting, and I'll try to keep the agenda light. If we don't have anything, perhaps you don't even need to have a
What date
selectmen's
is that?
meeting that night.
September 17th. So that's our second meeting.
It's a Wednesday,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be sure that the selectmen could be there, 'cause that's already on your calendars.
No. Sorry.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. We do have an update to the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 Policy Statement and Discrimination Complaint Procedures. And Michelle has very kindly put that together for us tonight.
This is the same that we pass every year,
It's
isn't it?
slightly changed. It's on blue paper with a few different words. And we provided you with the old white and the new blue. I think it's a little more succinct, Mark, and, sure, enumerated a little better, whereby you see the complaint filing, complaint investigation, complaint disposition, and then on the back, there's a policy statement as established by us. So if there's a motion for the revised Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 Policy Statement and Discrimination Complaint Procedures.
So moved.
Kathy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. And we'll move on to refund of excess payments.
I move that Norman Parody, if I've mispronounced that, I apologize, be refunded $39.28.
Second.
Seconded by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move that Gelco Corporation be refunded $358.16.
Second.
Seconded by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move that Thomas D. Gagliano Jr. be refunded $37.82.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I move that Conrad J. Hawk or Linda L. Hawk be refunded $52.44.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I
Any
move that,
opposed? Motion carries.
oh, sorry. Move that Leontine Hart be refunded $6.80.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move that James A. Varhol be refunded the sums of $27.01 and $16.62.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move that Piper S. Tobler be refunded $142.05.
Second.
Seconded by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move that Teresa M. Thompson be refunded $73.32.
Second.
Seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We talked a bit about water and sewer. I don't know that the subcommittee has met or has any report, but I'll entertain that.
I did have a conversation with Charles Shee, who's the Chief Executive Officer over at MDC. Just really say what's happening. And he said he'd be glad to come in at any time and address the board directly, just to see what they're thinking, what we're thinking. I mean, the short term is with, we have to get that addressed with our balance and our finances. But we're also looking at long term, what we're gonna be doing. So I'd like to, get him to, come down and speak with us.
Can we discuss that at the October meeting?
Well, if you wanted that then, before, after,
It's up to the selectmen.
it's up to this.
I have no need to talk to him.
Yeah.
No.
I have nothing to talk to him about yet,
Okay.
I think we have to meet first and, figure out a plan before we know what really to say, right?
Well, either that or we just see what we're gonna be doing. And get some kind of direction, see where they're at. So, there's nothing more than, you know, like, how they see us and how we see them. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep all channels of communication open.
That's
because
why we
this
have
is-
a committee.
We do, that's part of the committee, is bringing it here beforehand now.
Well, if you feel strongly about it, I'll listen. You think there's something to say?
Yes, I do. I want also all of us, this is more than just three, this would, you know, this is something, we're talking about our water supply and our future economical growth and for the whole town for years and years to come. All I wanna do is at least start, you know, it's more than a committee, I mean, we're gonna need consultants, like Brian said, we're gonna have to get this out.
Well, you know,
But I'd like to
really,
touch, I'd really like to touch base with him and us together.
I mean, I'm probably just repeating myself, but I've always said that I think we need an independent consultant to come in and address this issue and see what our options are.
Well,
That's always been my position.
I know that, and I believe that you're probably true to, believe that also, Brian, but, at one time, they said that they would at least provide us with that kind of a report and statement. We could always just start with that and then take that and go with our own if necessary. But I think,
May I ask Dick a question?
Sure.
Because I
just if
think,
Dick's gonna answer, would you mind using a microphone, Dick? You can use my
What am
microphone.
I gonna answer?
I don't know. Come on up.
I
That
was
way
gonna-
our listeners can hear you.
as chairman of the
You
commission,
can
Dick,
sit in the chair, I think, Dick.
Yes.
weren't you on the Board of Selectmen when we,
Do you wanna sit
when
down so
we,
we can?
when we went to the MDC for our water?
Yes, I was. I brought the issue up.
Okay. Are you pleased with the decision you guys made back then? Do you think it was a good decision long-term?
I'm very pleased because we were looking to spend $12.4 million to build a treatment plant and operate it. We're looking to spend another $5 million to develop a well field off of Co Avenue and then pump that water up
Between-
to the reservoir.
You mean be down by the river?
It's all on records, yes, yeah. And I presented it to this board a year or so ago. That we would have then, because once we took care of the reservoir water and brought it up to quality,
Yeah,
we were still required to have an additional source. So we
okay.
had a quality and a quantity problem. I think it was $4 million would address the quality, but we needed another $5 million to address the quantity. Once we had built and spent all that money, about $12.7 million, we would have still had to maintain and be responsible for the quality of water into the town of Portland. We hooked into the MDC for $4.5 million, and they are responsible for the quality of the water. And we also, at that time, resolved the issue of the quantity, not only the quality and the quantity. Now, I know the rates have gone up, but at that time, we were concerned about our ability to have adequate water for the town. Going back to the Board of Selectmen, when I believe I was first on with Wes Perini, the MDC was not interested in us because they did not have enough water. That
Yeah.
changed over a period of time. And a friend of mine, which you all know, Jim McCabe, came to me and said, why don't you consider the MDC? And my comment was they didn't have available water. Well, that had changed, and they had several million gallons of available water that they could give to us or sell to us. So at that point in time, by spending the $4.5 million to hook into the MDC, we solved the quality and the quantity problem.
Out of curiosity, where was the water going to come from below Co Avenue? How far
There was a
down?
well field that was to be developed,
I see.
but there were also problems with it, and I was involved, I have an interest in the water systems, and I've read books on it, that we had a problem with the temperature of the water, we had a problem with surplus water turning frogs brown. You remember that, Sue?
Vaguely.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Tom was on
So
that.
we had all kinds of regulatory problems with the Co Avenue well field,
Was that
not to mention the cost of pumping that water up to the reservoir.
Was that soil contaminated there?
No, I don't believe so.
I think it's
Really?
minerals too. There were certain minerals there that
Yeah.
would need to be removed or addressed.
And then we also had, yeah,
Filtration.
Is this where the tobacco fields used to be?
yeah, down off of there, yeah, yeah.
And the ground wasn't contaminated?
I don't know that it was. We were looking for quantity and quality. And one of the issues that came up, may be hard to believe, is back in the 70s when this came up, we had the Soviet Union to deal with. And they were concerned about contaminating surface water. So therefore, they wanted groundwater. So we chased groundwater, and then when the Soviet Union went away, we decided maybe surface water wasn't so bad after all. Do you remember, Sue? Yeah, Sue remembers. And,
That's interesting.
yeah, so it was the state and federal regulations bouncing us back and forth. And for a little town the size of Portland, my personal opinion is we should get out of the sewer and water business and have someone else take it over.
It's interesting, I can remember arguing with Brian's father about this, because
Mhm.
he believed in the MDC also.
Wow, I agree with your father on that one, too.
Is that the first time you guys agreed with
One of many, maybe. What else can I do for
Thank you,
you?
no, I appreciate the
Okay.
history.
I didn't come here planning on talking tonight, but like I say, I'm on the Sewer and Water Commission because I am really interested in this issue.
No, it's
Thank you,
very
Dick.
educational, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I think that works good to use the microphone like that, too. Thank you.
Yeah, except for the tape. You see his back.
I can hear him.
Such a handsome guy.
Well, they can turn the camera and see.
What'd I say?
I said that your back was to the camera so they didn't see this handsome guy on the TV.
I just think it's more comfortable in a conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
We're working on that.
Well, you didn't vote for these two guys, did you?
I don't care. You want him to come,
No, Ken?
Would you want him that same day that we're gonna have all this information?
I think we
No,
should have
probably the next-
a previous
next
or
month.
later.
17th, we're busy.
so do it in the beginning, can we do it at the
You
beginning of
could
November?
do a special meeting?
Yeah,
Beginning of November.
it's at any time.
Okay, we'll look at the
Yeah.
beginning of November.
If you wanna do it after, so we got a kind of, some kind of idea where we're going with
Yeah.
that, that'd be fine.
Or
Or
that
we have more
second
questions
meeting in
that we can be-
October, maybe. That might be good, because we'll have talked a little bit ourselves with Water and Sewer Commission.
That's good.
And I would suggest that second meeting, if you're speaking with Mr. Shea, 15th of October.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'll try.
Thank you.
That would be, as Kathy just pointed out, 15 of October. Okay, that's good. Thank you for coming tonight. I think that's helpful. Public comment? Any
Thank you.
public comment tonight? Thank you. Very helpful.
Susan, do we have
Yes.
a motion for that October 15th meeting or
No.
No,
no? No.
no, because it'll be an agenda item. Thank you, Sharon. General and formal discussion. Fred?
Yeah, I think we have a new member of the media, and
We
I'd just
do.
like to welcome him.
Welcome, John.
Looking forward to working with him.
And we're very happy to be working with all three. Wonderful to have three reporters here tonight. Thank you for coming.
Can I ask for an agenda item for a future meeting?
Of course.
At the October 1 meeting, could we have an executive session to discuss a personnel matter?
Yes.
Thank you.
And if it involves a person, you'll have to tell me so that I can get permission to speak about that.
Okay. Do you want to know that now? Publicly, or
I'm sorry?
do I have to say that on the camera?
I don't think so.
No.
No, just tell me later.
Okay.
Okay, follow-up items. We talked about water and sewer. The policy discussion, we still need to add that to an agenda, I think, Fred. And then the drainage matter, that's a matter of dollars and cents. So with that, I'd like a motion to go into executive session. I'll give you a brief update on land acquisition. Is there a motion?
So,
Kathy, seconded by Carl.
Second by.
Carl.
Before, can I just ask a quick question?
Of course.
Just going back to the drainage matter, just, I know what the issue is, but what the problem was, but what's going on there?
Nothing.
Is that, nothing? So
Not
there's still
unless
an issue,
you
but there was something
give us
about the
money.
backyard, was the front yard or something? What was
That,
the-
I know it very well.
Okay.
There's a dry well at the end of Stoner Terrace. And when it rains appreciably, the water goes into the dry well. There's no storm drain. When the dry well fills up, it goes all over the place, and it goes downhill to the property on High Street and on, Bella Vista Heights. So what you would need to
that's the only property
do,
affected?
there's 2 to 3 properties affected by that.
One up by on the top, is that right?
Do you know on High Street across from, Greystone Manor, there's a
Yeah.
house that sits it back.
Okay.
That house is directly affected, and then there's one, maybe 2 houses on Bella Vista. One in particular is very impacted, and her property washed out quite a bit in the storms of 2011, 2012.
Nothing since?
Not since. There were a couple of storms that year. So that's one drainage matter. Another drainage matter is actually coming down Coble Hill and to Edwards Road. You'll remember a woman came about 5 or 6 times to tell us about it, and her driveway had stone,
Mhm.
gravel,
Yeah.
that got washed out, filled up the storm drain didn't function. Her neighbor across the street lost her pool and her whole side yard, and the water rushed down to Main Street and then continued down to Strong's Avenue.
So what are we doing? Are we addressing these issues?
No, not unless you give the direction of money and allocate engineering as well as costs for repair. The hill, if you think about High Street, these are all emanating from there, pretty much. And there's other areas as well, and you'll remember, we had a whole presentation from Jeff Jacobson and Rick Kelsey,
Right.
and they highlighted the 3 that I've just discussed with you, or 2.
What was the dollar amount, Julie?
We don't have an estimate, Ryan, but it would involve, a fair amount of drainage work and study. Some of the problems that we have is not just that it's hilly, but there's drainage areas that they go through people's yards, and they create problems. I mean, this happens at a lot of towns, it's nothing particular to Portland. But dealing with stormwater and runoff works 80% of the time, 90% of the time, and then when you have these big storms, you begin to see there could be additional problems.
So we have to fix the problem, but how is the damage remedied?
I believe Public Works assisted on Edwards Road, because I live near there, so I know what happened there. I think the neighbors helped clean it up. They looked toward insurance. I don't think they had any coverage. The woman who lost her pool did not have coverage, so she had to absorb those costs herself. The property up on Bella Vista, I think they've repaired the erosion that has occurred over time. I don't recall that we did, other than what might have occurred in the street itself. I don't know that there was damage interior to the homes. I do know there was damage to the outdoor yards, streets, storm drains, etc. Water is a major force when you get a lot of it, as you know.
And there were no claims that arose out of that? No?
Other than the residents addressed them by coming to my office. I had meetings with them, and then I invited our town engineer to review the drainage problems, which he did, along with Public Works. They did a full presentation to the Board of Selectmen and a PowerPoint presentation that I still have, and I know that it was on tape. You could review that. Their suggestions were that there's an engineering answer, you just have to budget it. And when we met during budget season, I said that we would mention in particular the High Street Stoner Terrace situation, and and there was no allocation made for repair at this time. Okay, thank you. If you want me to get you more information on that, I can. So, there was a motion made and seconded. All in favor for the land acquisition?
Aye.
Aye.
Executive session? So it's actually now 8:17. Thank you, Mark. So we'll take a brief recess while the room is cleared.